I've always thought that in a different place or maybe a different time, any archaeologist would take one look at some of these stone monuments of the area and they'd immediately recognize that they were something of archaeological importance and they'd want to dig in. Well, it was a different time. It was 1993, but the place was right here in the municipality of La Pêche, where I've been finding all these things. And this article has just been brought to my attention from 1993, where archaeologists were all over this stuff. Check it out. I'd like to say a big thanks to Shane for sending me this article. Shane is a really amazing researcher who's looking into all kinds of things from Ontario to Quebec and beyond. All these things that don't really fit into the main archaeological story about this area of Canada. And he actually just came with his dad and brother for a tour of the ancients and took these fabulous pictures with his film camera of some of the ancient constructs here at LeTerrain. So thank you, Shane. Let's get into this amazing article here, where an archaeologist was alerted to a cluster of stone mounds with an S-shaped mound in the middle. Sound familiar? Right here in the area, probably a stone's throw away, and he wanted to dig in. There was no question about, oh, this might be the farmers. No, this archaeologist immediately recognized them and started to put into works the process to try to do a dig. The article is inconclusive at best and problematic at worst. So I'm just going to highlight a few of the details that are interesting about the article, but I will also add it to the website, and I'll put a link on it so that you can read the full thing yourself. So the article's title is Archaeologists to Test Secret Indian Grave Site. Well, why is it a secret? More importantly, why is it immediately assumed that it's a grave site? To me, that seems just kind of like the simplification of indigenous culture to say that, if they built something out of stone, it couldn't be representational or symbolic or ritualistic. It just has to be a grave. That's all they did, was build graves with stone. That to me seems problematic, but I'm just speculating. La Pêche, that's this municipality. The secret Indian gravesite in La Pêche will likely be the subject of further study by an archaeologist from the Ministry of Culture sometime this summer. Now, remember, the Ministry of Culture visited my site, a group of mounds, and determined them to be nothing. Now we have, 30-some years ago, the same organization sending an archaeologist because they're clearly something. Ministry archaeologist Gilles Sampson, accompanied by Giselle Beauvais, visited the site last week with band counselor René Tenasco and 2 advisors. Sampson was satisfied that there was enough evidence to lead him to believe that the site is an ancient Indian burial ground. He was prepared to recommend digging a test pit to verify the site. I still don't know why it's just immediately assumed it's an ancient burial ground, but let's see. In an interview during the visit to the area, Sampson emphasized that before digging a test pit, the concurrence of the landowner and the band council is necessary. He said he would also accept the band's oral tradition, which indicates the area as a burial ground. Well, that's interesting. I haven't heard of any burial grounds in the La Pêche area. I'm sure if there were any official indications of that, you would hope they would be marked and protected. The owner, who was asked not to be identified, was clearing brush in his property when a visitor, who is of Inuit origin, mentioned that there were a lot of graves on the property. I know that these cultures are very different, the northern people versus the people that were here, so it's interesting that they have someone commenting from the north. The mounds were instantly recognizable to the visitor, who remarked, "This is the way we bury our dead." Now, does this mean this is the way they bury their dead up in the north, where they do use stones because there's no earth. It's just it's ice, or they can't dig into the earth. It goes on to describe the site. The 8 mounds, each lying in a north-south direction, are formed from moss-covered stones, obviously carefully placed. An S-shaped mound of rocks lies at the center of the site. Now that sounds familiar, given I have found hundreds of mounds and tens of S-shaped or serpent-like stone mounds in the area amongst clusters of stones. But Tanasko advised that an expert should be brought in to confirm his assessment. Whew, yeah, absolutely. We need an expert, and an expert practices and scientific method to figure this out. Last week, Tom Martinez, an Ojibwe from Castlock Reserve in northern Ontario, was called in for advice. Martinez calls himself an advisor rather than a medicine man. He said he received his powers in a ceremony handed down through his family. After visiting the area, he confirmed that the mounds indicate Indian graves which are perhaps 350 years old. That's a really curious number, 350 years. It's certainly not in the ancient territory. And how would he come to that number? I'm wondering, just having a look at them. It's such a specific number. Problematic. Goes on. A search of the area beyond the owner's property line revealed additional mounds. Well, of course, La Pêche and this whole area, as you've seen in my videos, is lousy with stone features, constructs, mounds, monuments. I've found hundreds, as I've detailed in my videos. Martinez also found a marker, it doesn't describe what kind, which probably indicates the eastern limit of the burial ground. There's likely another marker nearby somewhere, like a cemetery border, he said. Okay. Martina said he would have to consult with the spiritual world to determine if there would be any value in excavating one of the graves in the spring. It is possible that we could have one of our own native archaeologists work together with museum archaeologists. Oh, I'm all for that. I love the indigenous archaeology collaboration, especially when indigenous people are archaeologists. But he added, there's not a great deal of benefit that any human can get, even if we excavate. It's just history. It's just history? I don't understand that comment at all. Martina suggested that it might be better just to recover the area with dirt. Okay, well, there it is. I'm going to leave it for you to check at the link in the comments, and please let me know what you think about this. There's a couple of really big takeaways I'm getting from this article that I hope that you share with me. And the first is that we can't just look at anything indigenous created and assume it's a grave. This is an ongoing simplification, and it's frankly an injustice to the complexity of all the indigenous people all over the world, but especially here in North America. And it doesn't make sense that these things are graves, because they've never been associated with them. In all the ones that have been decimated throughout New England, there's never been a find that these were associated with graves. And they're just so ubiquitous and cover such a large territory. It would be like, in modern times, our graveyards being bigger than our cities and our settlements for the living people. It just makes no sense. And how about the different sizes of them? Like, is a stone pile this big a grave, as well as 100-foot-long serpent wall? It just makes no sense at all. But also, there was a time, amazing, this article is right here in the same municipality as I've been studying. This is probably just a few miles from here, but 30 years ago, archaeologists would look at this and there'd be no doubt in their mind that this was worthy of study and investigation. That's all I'm trying to do here all these years with these videos. And I want to thank you for following along. Thanks for checking out this last one here. I've got more coming up really soon. Have a great day, and thank you.